Tonight is part two, and part two is the finale of the story Cathy's Dapper Date. Hello, everybody out there. It's AKA GK Fralin. This is Glenda, and we are a friendly community. And we gained some conversation last night with some subscribers, and so glad to have the Vegan Van Vibe join us for some good old convo. Tonight is part two, and part two is the finale of the story Cathy's Dapper Date. It was contributed to by Carla Schurman, who gave the elements. And so if you have not heard part one yet, please go back and listen to last night or yesterday's, and then come back and listen to this one, because I think it's just a lot better if you hear it from the beginning. So tonight is part two of Cathy's Dapper Date. Friday morning came, and Cathy jumped out of bed. She had a whole day to prepare, but she felt like a new bride and wanted to be perfect for it. For the most part, she'd kept her hourglass figure. It was much puffier, but still that shape. She listed out her day. 1. Go to the hairdresser and get roots done. Have them style my hair up in updo for the hat. I should probably take that along. 2. Stop by the market and pick up a fresh ruby-colored lipstick. 3. Make sure my earrings are shiny. 4. Take Elsie to Gladys. 5. Take a gas tablet before going out to eat tacos. Very important. 6. Get dressed and wait for your date. Through the day, she followed her list carefully. Her nerves might have made her forget much of it otherwise. Her hair looked perfect, she felt, after the salon. They even tried the hat on over it to make sure it would fit properly, and decided a hat pin was needed. She stopped at the market and found a ruby lipstick, but had some difficulty with the earrings, so she went to a jeweler across the street. There she found a beautiful set of posts with small rubies. They looked so dainty and perfect. Her own pair had lost a ruby when she went to find them. Thank goodness the old ones were costing. The small posts she bought had tiny, real rubies. Before going home, she stopped at a small sandwich shop for a tuna salad to eat for her lunch. Any proper lady knows that the tummy rumbling in front of a date isn't appropriate. This had to be that one perfect date. The rest of the afternoon, she finished the remainder of her list of preparations. Elsie, her wheat-colored tabby, loved Gladys and easily went to her friend. Gladys took the cat. Hello, Miss Elsie Wheat. You and I have a date this evening. How about a cat's food supper for you, and a bowl of soup, and a salad for me? Cathy smiled. Why do you call her Elsie Wheat? Because you always refer to her as your wheat-colored tabby, so it seems to me the name fits all together. Plus, it's easier that way. Gladys smiled as she sweet-talked and petted the cat. Do be careful not to have a do be careful to have a wonderful time, Cathy. I know how much you want the perfect date, but don't be put expectations too high. You might miss the fun of a good date. Oh, Gladys, you're so funny. You'll see, I hope. Whatever, I will have a good meal and danced. Well, I'd better go home and get dressed. Gladys smiled and waved as Cathy closed the door on her way out. It was so easy since Cathy's apartment was next door to her dear friend. By 6 o'clock, Cathy sat waiting for a date. She felt like a girl again. Her energy level soared at the very idea of dancing with Frank. 3 knocks on the door of the apartment, and she almost jumped and ran to it, but she held her excitement in check and walked gracefully to the door. "Who is it?" she asked, knowing full well she didn't want to seem like she wasn't safety conscious, especially since Frank was a stranger. "It's Frank Scorpio. Are you Cathy?" She opened the door wide and let in a tall, dapper-looking man with silver hair. He wore a tuxedo and a ruby-colored bow tie and cummerbund. His face had a few wrinkles, but not so that he looked old. She remembered his age on the profile was 75. As she took in all the details of her date's appearance, she motioned him to a chair in the living room. "Please have a seat, Frank. I'll go and get my wrap." Living in Florida, a coat wasn't needed, but a light shawl over the shoulder finished her outfit. Cathy took one more look in the mirror. Her hair was tucked into a large patch of curls on top of her head. She would wait to put the hat on just before they left. Thankfully, there was a mirror by the front door. It was too hot to wear gloves to finish the formal outfit. She let that be her nod to the 21st century. The South liked to keep the old grace and decorum, but they lived their daily lives in the current fashion. The black lace dress hugged her curves nicely without being too tight. The tea-length skirt was full enough that when she twirled, it swirled around her, swished around her. The sequin bodice was, with its scooped neck against her light skin, showed the one thing she didn't think of. Instead of a ruby necklace, she wore a double rope of pearls. She felt satisfied that it didn't disturb the look. Her earrings and makeup were perfect. She felt like a stunning woman 20 years younger. She found her date waiting patiently in the living room. "I think I'm ready to go. I hope I didn't keep you waiting long." Frank stood up and looked at her. "Not at all. You're beautiful. I wanted to say so when I arrived, but I was too awestruck." "You're flattering me, Frank." She blushed, satisfied that her efforts met his expectations. They rode in the back of a limousine that Frank rented. She thought about her daughter's date to prom. "This is so much more than I expected. Your profile said you wanted the perfect first date. I intend to deliver that. I also intend to enjoy having a perfect date once in my life." They stopped at a Mexican restaurant where they had soft-shelled tacos and coffee. Neither ate more than one taco because the merengue takes a lot of energy and a full stomach might have caused problems. The night was magical. Cathy and Frank, with his aquamarine eyes, swayed their hips and twirled around the dance floor. Although they danced the salsa and foxtrot, they requested the merengue 3 times. They were alone except for the band and hostess of the studio. "I can't believe nobody else is here tonight," Cathy remarked. "Ah, I rented the entire studio and band. You're my prisoner for the night." Cathy felt a chill after he said the word prisoner. "I'm sorry, please tell me you didn't mean that." Frank laughed, "Only in the sense of a wonderful date. It's an expression, that's all. In dance, the man takes the lead. I consider you my prisoner of the dance." "That's very poetic, I admit. You scared me for a moment." "I'm sorry. I should have thought about that. I am a stranger after all." "I'll be your prisoner only of the dance." She laughed as he sent her twirling under his arm. The tea-length skirt of her dress swirled around her. The night was over too fast. The limousine ride back to Cathy's home flew. By the time they reached the door, Cathy knew she'd been on the one perfect date of her life. Frank took her hand, leaned down and kissed it, bowed low, and started to walk away. "Thank you, Frank." She didn't want to ruin it with a second date, but she was puzzled. "Did you enjoy the evening as much as I did?" "Well, I can't speak for how much you enjoyed it, other than your smile all night. I will remember this evening for as long as I can as the perfect date of my life. You see, I have the beginnings of Alzheimer's, and tonight is such a gift for me." He had stopped by the limo. "Please don't be angry that I didn't tell you about my condition. That was selfish on my part because I wanted no sympathy. I didn't want you distracted trying to see if my mind was intact." He bowed low. "Please don't let that ruin your night. You've given me a gift, and I hope I did the same for you." "Oh, Frank," Cathy said softly, "nothing could ruin the night for me. You've been such a gentleman, and I'd want this to be our one perfect date as well. I will keep you in my thoughts. When you can't remember anymore, I will." She curtsied, turned, and unlocked the door to her apartment. The phone rang. It was Gladys. "Can I come over and bring Elsie back? I can't go to sleep until I know all about your night. I've felt like a mother waiting for her child." "Certainly, dear. Do come over and bring my Elsie. I'd love to share my experience with you. It's been an absolute perfect date." Don't we all wish for that one perfect date or day or time? And this way, Cathy had it. And so did Frank. So, hope you enjoyed the story. Tomorrow's another day. I love all of you because I've been loved. And tomorrow, I'll see you then.